Hey guys, Mono here with a little preview of the new map called
Mortain.
Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna pronounce that. This is footage from the PTE or the public test environment, so keep that in mind. This map is still a ways off, at least 2 months I think. There's still work that needs to be done, so this is not necessarily the final version, but I'll be doing a basic overview of the map with the admin camp shortly and talking about some of the more specific issues that I have with it. But first, I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on what I think of this map, and I think it's the best map they've done since Kharkov. So Driel and El Alamein were the two previous maps that they released with the British forces. Alamein is just a really tough map with way too many open areas. It's a tank map for tankers, and though those maps can sometimes be really fun for the infantry also, that is not the case with El Alamein. Driel is okay, but I feel like it doesn't really have an identity. It's like too samey, too flat. Most of the areas are very similar, and the urban areas, though they are nice, you rarely get to fight in them, so it's just not the best. On the other hand,
Mortain
has some really fun areas to fight in. There's elevation differences all over the map. I think they need to add some more localized changes between the fields and not just have the same slope, if you know what I mean. Like have a little more dips in these open fields to make them a bit more manageable. But I really enjoyed basically playing every aspect of this map. The big town area is off to the north and the left side of the map, so the last 2 points for the Allied. I wish it was more towards the middle of the map so you could get to play it more often. Right now, it's a really cool area to fight over, and you're going to be completely missing out on it if you have to cap the points towards the south, and that's a real shame because it is by far, at least for me so far, the most enjoyable part of the map. That's not to say other parts of the map aren't also really good, because they are. I think if you enjoy maps like SMDM, you're definitely going to enjoy this map. But there's something I want to mention, which is that even though the town area has a lot of buildings and there are some buildings scattered around basically everywhere on the map, you can't really enter any of them, which is a huge disappointment. Really, the sticking point so far for me in this map, something that I think they need to change to make the map a lot more satisfying and enjoyable. I don't know if it has to do with memory restrictions that come from having console parity, because PC has more memory available than PS5 or the Xbox. If that's the case, then that's a real shame. However, I'm not sure how accurate that is, so definitely do not take that as a truth. But I hope they open up the buildings, because, well, let me show you right now with the admin cam to see what I mean. Right, so let me show you what I mean here. All of these buildings are not enterable. They do not have an interior, so all of these, this is like the main street you'll be fighting on. None of them are enterable except for some of the really old assets like this. We all know this house, right? But most of the houses around this area are not enterable, which is a real shame, because it's part of the urban environment to be able to actually use those places, right? And they do have some broken buildings here. I'll talk about them in a few minutes. You can't go into the church either, which is insane given that in Kharkov you can, and Kharkov has more open houses than this. So I don't know what's the deal here with that specifically. I hope they just need more work optimizing the memory and everything. Also, there's some assets that are completely out of place. My buddy Guderian was just showing me this lamppost out here in the middle of nowhere, which makes absolutely no sense. And there's just some things that don't really match. For example, this bunker with the little garden behind it just doesn't really make much sense. Or this building with these little gardens as well. Some areas seem to need more work than others. These buildings just thrown here with nothing around them, no tools, no barrels, no stuff like that. And also these assets that seem kind of out of place, like this thing here, which would be in a city environment. This is from Quarantine, I believe. So yeah, there's some work that needs to be done. Hopefully that's what they're gonna use the rest of the time in. This area right here, like, this seems very unfinished in my opinion. None of these buildings you can go in. So yeah, it's just rough in some areas, but let's see what the rest of the map looks like. All right, so let's take an overview of the map. All right, so this is the northernmost part, the Allied side. You can see I'm gonna drop some of the graphics here to try and get a better performance out of this. Right, so you can see the town. I really like the verticality in this town area, like how the streets go up. So you got some really, solid differences in terrain that make the fighting really interesting. That's not been done before, especially not on a city map like this. Or it's not a city map. A lot of people thought it was going to be a city map. It's not. It's a small town off in an area. It's kind of like SMDM, right? But if you've ever played the old SMDM, this is what, the middle flag here? Yeah. If you've ever played the old SMDM, that is exactly what it feels like. So you can see there's a whole lot of different elevations of terrain. I wonder, like, I bet tankers are going to find some really good positions to just shoot the crap off everyone from here. Because, let's take a look here. Right, so there's a lot of foliage that wasn't getting rendered there. Yeah, the rendering on the foliage is kind of concerning. Let's take a look at this area right here. Yeah, I bet you can put a tank or something here and really get some, like, pre-planned shots down on the city over there, which would be pretty dope. So it's a nice mix of just some small buildings with, like open fields and just a lot of open foresty area in general. Some areas feel very underbaked. Like, for example, this area feels fake. It's clearly, I think, not finished, or at least I hope. This is a work in progress. So you got some stuff like here. In general, I would say, where's the church? The church also, you cannot enter the church. So that really sucks. But most of the areas seem very fun to fight in. Alright, this you can go in. You got some supplies dropping there. This is HQ. Alright. Actually, no, it's not HQ. I was looking the wrong marker there. This is the middle point. So that's the Petite Chapelle, which is this middle point right here. Not enterable either. So overall, I would say the big disappointment with the map is some of the rendering issues with some of the new bush assets and stuff. Like, let's try and find some. Right, so bushes like these don't get rendered very far away, which makes, if you hide an OP here, it's gonna get seen from all the way over here, right? Yeah. Right. So let's take a look here. Yeah, you see that? You see that? Yeah, that's a problem right there. So they need to fix that. Maybe make, I don't know how they would make that. Maybe split them into two different assets and have like the A and B and have the exact same model, but have the A rendered at a larger distance. So then you have half of them rendering at so that way you don't demand way too much from the game. We got some open area here. With some farms. Again, these buildings empty inside, not enterable. That needs changing, I think, because otherwise it makes these points just a bunch of walls, really. So yeah, overall it's just a nice mix of these urban areas and these like foresty, hillside, long view distance areas, which I think you're gonna have to learn to navigate. Like, look at that view site, right? It's crazy. But you're gonna have to learn to navigate this, right? Because with the amount of trees that you have, you're gonna be able to just run through the forest and not get shot if you're getting, you know, if you're relatively far away. Think about it like Hill 400 or Hurtgen Forest, stuff like that, right? There is another problem. Let's try and redeploy and join a squad here. There is a problem with the MGs and the deployable areas. It seems like a lot of the new assets, the new fences and whatnot, you can't deploy the MGs on. At least not yet. So that's really shitty. Nope. Dude, yeah, that's not good. This is not good. So in this situation, you would have to just like go like this and not even. Wow. Okay, that's bad. That is really bad. I anticipate the MG42 being really dominant in this map in some areas. These fences are way too high. They shouldn't be this high. Like, nobody builds fences that are above head level. It makes absolutely no sense. Okay, you can't put it here. Yeah, there's a couple of issues, guys. Alright, but overall, I think this map looks really good. Like, really good. And let's check out some of the buildings, because I do want to talk about this. Okay, these buildings are new. And 100% these textures are not very good. Right? It's too plain. It looks like it's been freshly painted, which, you know, in a war, that's not gonna happen. Like, look at this. Right? It looks way too good. Way too fresh, way too new. So it looks fake. Paint should be worn out. If we take a look at this house, this is, I think, one of the old ones. So it looks, yeah, it looks a bit better. Let's try and, I know there's some of the old ones in the town area. Let's go over there. Alright, this is one of the old ones. And look at the paint. Look at the difference right here. Look at how it's all degraded, right? It could be even worse. And there's like moss on the roof and everything. This house is new, for sure. Alright, so yeah, this one. Right? So there's a big difference in terms of how they look. This one's also new, I'm pretty sure. Paint is perfect. Paint on this one is much better. Right? So, and also the church looks... It looks nice, but it also looks very fresh, very like it has absolutely zero damage. And you cannot enter the church, which is a big fail. And lastly, these buildings aren't very useful because they're too destroyed. There's not any area where you can actually defend from over here. It's too open. They need a bit more rubble, a bit more walls and whatever to be able to actually be useful. And they have these big chimneys and everything, but you can't actually do anything with them. And these look awful. Like, look at this window. Why? Like, the window and the entire floor is just as high as a human. So your head is like here, and this makes absolutely no sense. Like, why? I mean, the floor is too low. The window is too close to the floor. You know, it doesn't make any sense. I don't like that at all. And also, like, yeah, you have these fireplaces, but no chimney there. This might be a work in progress, I guess, because you do have one here. with the fireplaces and the chimney, so maybe this asset is just being worked on. Let's hope that's the case. But overall, I really enjoyed this new map. The fighting over this urban area is incredibly good. I really enjoyed it. I hope they make one of these buildings enterable because... actually, this one's enterable. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you can go from side to side over there. Maybe they should add one more that's enterable. But overall, pretty solid new map. Definitely, if you have a PC, download the PTE on Steam. You can find it under HLL's public test environment or PTE. Download that. This is going to be going on through the weekend, this new map. It's going to be available, so try it out. Definitely remember to fill in the feedback form. You can find that on Discord. I probably will link it in the channel description, in the video description, I mean. And give this map a try and give the devs your feedback. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.